said talk to me, damn it, or else I'm gonna throw you in the fire!
You stupid bitch, you filthy... Flyover State of Fear.
All right, welcome back to Flyover State of Fear. This week we have eavesdropped our eyes on Among Us. I have some really great guests this week. Jesse and Travis Wilson of What's Your Least Favorite Scary Movie? How's it going, guys?
Good, great. Man. Thank you for using the extra special.
Yeah, I feel like this is the first time I even ever said the movie we're talking about, but I made sure we caught. For those listening, Jesse shared a story this week on Twitter using a phrase I've never heard anyone use before to watch something. So that's our intro.
Yeah, in a meeting, a work meeting. It's fine. It's fine with every department supervisor, and one of them just deadpanned. Do you mean watch?
I've had that moment with you several times. So.
It's fine. I told you I liked it. I like it. It's just it's fun.
I think my favorite one was I couldn't remember the word for thirsty, so I called it mouth hungry.
Yeah.
Mouth hungry. Wow. Okay. These are
I'm
all
good with the English language.
These are all good.
Not words necessarily, but descriptions.
Alternate words we're all using. That's good. But no, so yeah, thanks so much for joining me. I mean, this is the week of Flyover State of Fear. What's your least favorite scary movie crossover? Even by the time this episode's out, my episode for your podcast already dropped, and then this one isn't then. So yeah, we just talked recently about Goosebumps and totally different vibes for this episode.
Yeah, we were actually talking about that last night. Jessie pointed out, she's like, kind of feel bad for choosing this movie because he chose Goosebumps, and that's such a wholesome movie, and we chose this one, and it's pretty fucked up.
I think we covered fairly thoroughly how Goosebumps is not as wholesome as
and I will say this. I'm not that like it's not that wholesome here. Like this is like no one's picked a Goosebumps yet, so you're fine. I will say this is definitely going to be the first episode I'm going to, when we get to it, give a disclaimer because of the subject matter and among friends. But we'll get there when we get there. But anyway. So as for new listeners and everything, I asked, what's your horror origin story? And you guys can ask that however, you could answer that however you want. So, yeah.
Okay, so we both have our own separate stories, but we decided we were going to go with like our joint story.
Yeah, so we met in college, and one of the things that we first talked about having in common was a love of horror.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're going back and forth talking about our favorite scary movies. And Travis says, have you ever seen Troll 2? Because I mentioned that I love the so bad they're good horror movies. And I was like, no. Yes!
Oh, nice. And she was like, I really like B horror, just bad movies. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I credit that movie to the start of our relationship. It was a pivotal moment. So
the couple who met in Neilbog, I love it. For those listening, I showed them a sticker I have of the Oh No. I have a group of friends actually I get together with every Wednesday, and we watch movies of the ilk of Troll 2 or worse.
I totally thought you were going to say, I got a group of friends. We get together every Wednesday and watch Troll 2.
Every Wednesday.
Every single week.
Wednesdays is for the goblins.
So, did you elaborate any more on the... I love, So Bad It's Good, where the point where I'm like, what am I doing with my life?
So
that's kind of why we're talking about the movie we're talking
yeah.
about tonight.
I'm
So like
so glad you mentioned that because so my wife doesn't like horror movies, right? But she's watches with Wednesday with us of these like your shark movies and this, and I was like, yeah, this is. I said the level we're talking about tonight, and we'll get there because I just want to hear more about your origin. I was like, yeah, it's like a wild, what we call them Wild Eye Releasing, because Wild Eye Releasing, who did like Velocipaster and all that,
Oh, yeah.
they release all of these like shark movies. So I'm like, it's like a Wild Eye movie I'm watching, just a little better. But please go on with your origin and all that, because Troll 2 I feel like it's a weirdly special B movie too.
It goes a lot of places. It's deeper than you think.
yeah. So we we watched that and then we kind of went on this whole mission together, and this was, kind of before either of us was really into Reddit, before Shudder was a thing, before any of that. Like before that, like on our own, we were the horror people in our families.
Gotcha.
Like my mom is really big into scary movies. So like my family's into scary movies, but like I was the one that they would be like, all right, you pick which movie we're putting on. Because they knew I was going to be good for finding the schlocky stuff.
Do you like that responsibility? Like I'm known as I feel like everyone, we have podcasts about movies. Like I'm known as the movie person in my family, and I hate putting on movies for people because I'm like, you're not gonna like what I put on.
Yeah.
Even if it's mainstream, it's like, oh.
I think it depends on who's telling me to put it on and how much they're gonna push back.
Yeah.
Because like my mom and my older sister will generally like they might give me a hard time, but like my stepdad and my younger sister will say like, yeah, just go ahead and pick something, and they'll roast it the whole time.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so we kind of started exploring on our own as best we could back in the dark ages.
It was the dying days of
Hastings.
Yeah, so it was like we still had a store where you could actually go and rent physical movies.
Oh,
so,
okay.
It was great. Like we would, go like you used to and go like look at the covers and kind of pick movies based off of that. One of the ones I remember we like picked that was really like it's kind of falls in this category is All Hallows Eve.
Oh yeah,
I know All Hallows Eve.
Yeah, like the cover is great. It has Art the Clown on it, and like it's Terrifier, like that short, and then a bunch of other shorts.
It's like it's like the schlockiest things. And then but you find like good gems in those. Like it's not All Hallows Eve, but it's the same Tales of Halloween. I did the same thing where I think I found them in like Walmart. I was like, and like they're all pretty good short stories where you're like, I get it. You're trick or treat. You're relying a little less on one singular vision.
Anthologies are great.
Yeah,
and they're perfect for like cheap movies because like you can just get a bunch of like people to just throw quick shit together.
It's funny. I did watch I watched a movie the other night though, and it was clearly cheap. It was I didn't like it even though I bought it. It was the Poughkeepsie tapes.
Oh my god, I love that movie.
And it wasn't that I didn't like it. I was into it. I was creeped out by it, but I was ready for it to be over.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
So let me rephrase it. But I was like, I go to my friend who I'm watching with, and I'm like, because he's one of the people we watch these Wednesday movies with, and I go, every movie we watch can still be this level. They're just choosing not to.
So, remember how you said Goosebumps is just like a comfort movie for you?
Yeah.
That's how Travis treats the Poughkeepsie tapes.
Oh, Travis.
That is not true.
Travis.
I've had it on. I've had it on because it happens to be streaming on Pluto TV, and they do like the live movies sometimes. And I put it on, and I might have like thought about the idea of leaving it on for the pets when we were gone. But like
it was. This is not the Poughkeepsie tapes episode, but it was definitely an interesting watch. I had thought I had seen it before, but interesting comfort movie. But I
like that's
I
what
digress.
like if I'm working on a sewing project, sometimes he'll come back in that room with me and he'll bring the laptop and put something on. And that was one that he put on one time.
Good for good.
Normally
I
it's something
respect
like
it.
Friday the 13th or a
Yeah.
documentary, and he's like, we're going to put on
I
Poughkeepsie tapes today.
I respect it. But is there any like other kind of I guess what propelled, because I guess what set the podcast? Was it just a natural transgression of like, we've discovered these movies, and then like, because even your name, the what's your least favorite scary movie is such a clever name. Like that's kind of the double-edged sword, right?
So as we started deep diving on our own, you get a lot of hits and misses, and then we're getting older, technology's advancing, we're on Reddit more, we get a Shudder subscription, start watching things like Joe Bob, start doing watch parties online, and we're getting exposed to more and more things. And it was making us think more and more about what we do and don't like in movies. And we discovered that even though we both like horror movies, we have a very different range of what makes a good horror movie.
So what's the range? I just want to know, what is the range of each of yours?
Well, Jesse is like, I don't know, like our thing is like, you say you don't really like the supernatural stuff, really.
I don't like it when it's poorly done. I feel like stuff like supernatural stuff, creature features, things like that, I feel like a lot of times they're played cheaply, so I'm really picky about them. Whereas I feel like a slasher, I will accept any type of slasher.
Would
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that's our common ground right there, is like
slashers.
Yeah.
Slashers are like the good middle ground for everyone. Like it's easy to get a slasher going. I think
I also love like the cult horror stuff, which Travis is not a big fan of. So he was not pleased when Shudder dropped their folk horror collection. And like I'm watching that documentary they had, like making note of all the movies I'm gonna watch.
That's good. I know. I recently just covered Wicker Man, and I forgot how much I enjoy like that oddity of cult folk horror. Also,
like, I love that movie.
Where
so
it's
much.
it's like a musical comedy, and then you got to like talk. I had to talk about it on the podcast to figure out how scary it actually got.
Yeah, that's a weird one. We talked about that one too. I recognize it for the influence that it did on, like, they had on Midsummer.
Yeah. So Travis, what's your more lane? Or I could already tell with Poughkeepsie taste. Are you more just like hardcore, like more like redneck horror? That like Hills Have Eyes.
I do like that stuff a lot.
More gritty.
I'm okay with doing the harsher shit. Like whenever we covered Martyrs, that was my pick for that movie. And like after we watched that movie, I was like, you like want to watch some more of like the French Extremity movies? Like I wanted to run the gauntlet that night. I wanted to watch all of them like consecutively. I mean, they're fucked up, and I like feeling uncomfortable with horror movies because like that's kind of what you want, like that's what I want to get out of it. And a lot of the times that stuff goes really far, but like I even had have you heard of
Begotten?
Yeah, like
name sounds familiar, but like I'm pretty like new, like a novice to that area, especially of horror movies. So
it's a really weird experimental movie. I haven't watched it yet. I'm thinking about throwing that idea out there to Jesse to watch it one night. It's fucked up, man. It's a fucked up movie, but it's really weird and experimental.
I'm waiting to now that you're talking about Shudder, I'm ready to dive into The Devils finally.
I've heard of that, but
another fucked up kind of like band movie or 70s horror. But that's awesome. The only other thing I want to kind of ask is like you said ghost movies you're not really into. Is it like when you said done badly, is it like God, it's such a terrible trope. The mouth, like the exaggerated like ghost face mouth that they all did.
So I take the paranormal shit seriously.
Mm.
So, and like I like the lore that goes along, and it's kind of a similar thing with creature features that I like the lore that goes along
Sure.
with it. So I hate it when it's just played for like jump scares
Mhm.
because it feels like the laziest way to handle the material. Whereas like honestly, when we're going to talk about this on our show next week, which is several weeks ago by the time this
Sure, yeah, this
episode
is
comes
gonna-
out, but it's fine. We're going to talk about Paranormal Activity because that's
I
one of
just
those.
covered it.
Oh, yeah.
I'll have to listen to that after we have our episode. Then,
Yeah,
so
I
that way,
was
yeah.
I was not in the episode I covered the I found I was like respectful of what it did for the genre, but it didn't age for me.
I'm sure it's been a while since I've watched it, but one of the things I do like is that, oh my god, I can't remember her name. All I can remember is freaking Mika's name because he's the most
Katie.
annoying Katie.
Katie.
Yeah, like there's a whole background there to this
They
to this
plant
creature,
seeds.
and it follows through like throughout the whole series. Like you can
Yeah.
tell like it's there. So I like that. I feel like it's unappreciated. I think there are some movies where they're like, ooh, spooky shit.
Yeah,
like,
I think you guys will have fun covering that episode. So before
That
we jump
movie is
into
like, ooh, spooky shit,
Ooh,
the movie.
spooky
yeah, but
shit.
they're like it's got something behind it.
Not
They
at
built-
first, like afterwards. Yeah, we'll talk about this another
Yeah,
time.
you guys,
Okay.
but
Sorry.
it's funny. You know what's? I'll give you the tip on that one. Is you see like the things that worked in that first one of them trying to build the lore. I noticed I literally like talked about like I think last Thursday, and then the things that they didn't pick up. Right, they followed like the house and the story with the girls, but they didn't put any of that shit in the sequels of like that awkward web that like MySpace site they go to of the exorcism, right?
Yeah, not all of the sequels
And-
are great,
and-
but
and-
there are several that fall in line that I think are really like. I
It was
can't
neat.
remember if it's the first 3 or 4 that I think are really
Yeah,
enjoyable, and they tell a cohesive story.
3 fucked me up.
Three's great.
Anyway,
Is that
that's
the one with the covenant end?
Yes.
Ah!
Those little girls. That's the best one. Real quick before we get amongst friends. So because of that, I need. I know no one has favorites. I don't have favorites. But give me your one recommendation in your horror lane, Jesse, and then give me one recommendation in your horror lane, Travis, and then we'll talk about amongst friends.
It's for like movies.
Yeah, your different lanes of horror. I like this idea of the lanes of horror.
Okay. Well, if we're gonna go like with the direction like about me doing the fucked up shit, one for me is High Tension, which is
High
another French extremity movie. Jesse doesn't necessarily care for that.
I don't dislike it. I just think it's a bit overrated.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It's a slasher at its core, and it has I don't know if it's like a spoiler to say that there's a twist or anything. It has like a dumb twist, but like
Gotcha.
overall, like it's a super enjoyable movie. I have a lot of fun watching it every time. It's super gory, and I love it whenever gory gets like turned all the way up, and it fucking does in that movie. It's such a fun watch.
I'll put it to my list. I'm gonna have to dive into these French extremist expression films,
French Extremity, yeah.
extremity films. And then Jesse, do you got one for me?
Okay, so thinking about B horror, made for TV, and
Sure.
it is kind of in the theme of this movie tonight, where it's like a group of friends and they have to kind of be pit against each other.
I know what this is gonna be.
You do know what it
I
is
know
because
what
this
it
is one that I put on in the background all the time. It's called Truth or Dare, and it's not the one with Lucy
I was gonna say
Hale.
not the
No, it
Pretty Little
is.
Liars one, is it?
No, it's like for the company that does the movies for sci-fi.
It's a
Okay,
sci-fi
Truth or
movie.
Dare.
It was on sci-fi.
I'm
Yeah.
adding both of these.
I think
Tension.
it's the better version of the. We have a running theory that there's a whole subgenre of Truth or Dare horror movies, which when you get into, like, I could name probably 4 off the top of my head right
Yeah,
they're
we
all
got
truth or dare, but like
Ready or
it's
Not. You could put in that one. I feel like.
yeah.
Cool. That's great. I love it. I love that it spawned this origin spawned your podcast
It's so weird.
and probably made you watch things that you never thought you'd watch, like something like Among Us, because I would have never watched Among Us if it wasn't for this for your recommendation. So we're talking today about Danielle Harris, horror icon, directorial debut.
Actually, I think she has one movie before this.
Oh,
I
Really?
did a little bit of digging. She has one movie before this, and this one came out. This is her
Well-
most recent and her final movie.
well, that is my fault. Yes,
And,
you're right.
No, it's
I
okay.
know.
Like you
She has a
mentioned
movie
before,
called
we
Prank.
oh yeah, that's it. Yeah. And I mean, nobody. She hasn't really done a lot of directing, so nobody's gonna really think of her. Like we just talked about this last week. I would have thought that this was her first and only movie because
It's
Yeah.
cool. It's cool. She got to direct. I mean, like she was given sort of her own franchise, and Hatchet is also with
Yeah.
Kane Hodder. So, but I like everything. I like every episode. I do start reading the synopsis from Google. But the synopsis on Google is not the synopsis for this movie. It's for another movie called Amongst Friends. So I had to go to IMDb. That one is, because I started reading, and it's Richard Giles and Felipe have been friends for nearly 50 years. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? And I copied and pasted it. So that's not, but it comes up with the rest of like cast description and everything. I mean, this movie doesn't have a Wikipedia. So I don't have any. So having said that, I don't have any sort of financials or returns.
You know what?
Travis, did you do background research on this movie?
No, I've got Tubi on my phone. I'm gonna pull up Tubi and I'm gonna give you the synopsis.
Oh, I have it a synopsis. I do. You give me the synopsis.
You do?
Then. I do. I have IMDb synopsis, and you let me know. This is the fun part where sometimes the synopsises, I don't know if you guys have found it. I have found it. They are perfect descriptions, or they are so off or have nothing on them.
So that's one of the things we love about Tubi is you never know what you're getting from the description.
So you know what, Travis? Before I see the IMDb, because it's only a sentence, give me the Tubi description, because I never thought of using Tubi's. I just go Google and.
It's probably the same thing. It says, all is fair in love and war among friends when three self-important bachelors each falls in love with and begins dating this. What the? Oh,
You're in the wrong movie!
I was going to say, that's a lot more creative than mine. Okay, so.
Okay, I'm sorry, I got it here.
You got it.
A group of friends get together for a murder mystery party, but things take a dark turn when someone out for blood hijacks the evening.
Wow, it's so funny. Whoever took it from IMDb and flipped when one hijacks the evening and is out for blood. They flipped the two. It's the same sentence.
Take my homework. You can copy it. Just change it a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna reread it because perfect. So it's actually a pretty good description of this movie.
Yeah.
Now, why? Why are we watching this? That is like I don't normally start with the why, but why?
So, the memes of like I forced a bot to watch every Saw movie and then generate a script. So Travis was joking around that like if you made a bot listen to like 50 hours of me talking about my favorite kinds of horror movies, this is the script it would write.
This is an AI generated movie.
You know what? I get it. The AI also like generated the camera angles too, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, okay, so this is what happened. We do this thing where we like dumpster dive for movies, and Tubi's the perfect place for that because they upload anything. So they have so many movies that are good, but then they have so many that are bad.
And the descriptions are such an important part of it.
Yeah.
Because my favorite is this one. It's like one of the escape room. It's called Escape Room.
Yeah.
Something like that. And it just says, a successful man must fight for his life. And that's all it is. And the whole time we're going, who's the successful man?
Oh, I love that. It's it's funny you say dumpster diving. So I've seen it recently on TikTok, and I was like, I used to do this years ago. The Walmart put your hand in the $5 bin, and you have to watch what you grab.
Oh, dude, that's such a good idea. I like
And
that.
I played it, and I'm not discovering. I'm sure it's been around, but recently my TikTok's been showing me people doing that, and I'm like, yeah, it's fun. I mean, you got if you pull out like Paw Patrol or something like that, you got to put it. You're not going to go home and watch it, but
It's cheating. It's cheating, Joe.
But I got burned by like something like Hancock. I'd rather pick up Amongst Friends than the shitty Will Smith superhero movie from 2007. It's a real experience. I'm just pulling Hancock out of my ass.
I watched that movie in theaters.
It's fine. It was fine.
It's directed by the dude that did Breaking Bad. Like,
yeah,
he made that movie. It's so fucking weird.
It's not a bad movie, but it's
two different movies in one.
Yes.
It's two scripts meshed together.
Oh, your classic, someone was running and they fell and then they like made the pages. So this movie though, it's funny that you say it's like AI because I'm thinking about it now, and that is kind of how the things play out.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the nice part about this is it is a breeze to watch. Like it is you said it's not even an hour 20 that it's billed at, it's like an hour 15.
Mm-hmm.
So we do start off with this like Entourage intro. Like it reminded me of like oh yeah, I was gonna play and like
dude,
palm trees.
This is how you know it's gonna be like a shitty movie because it's just so like low budget, man. Like it does not look good.
I appreciate that we got every character's name right from the get-go.
The Polaroid,
nice.
like
yes,
Andrew. No one's named Andrew. Lily.
Adam.
Adam. My first note actually, because I was trying to figure out, I was like, oh, they're going to a movie premiere. Like I didn't like know what I was, and then I was like, oh no, they're going to a house to play a murder mystery party. And have you guys ever played one of these murder mystery or thrown one?
No, but we were talking about like wanting to do something like that after
They're
watching
fun.
this. It sounds like fun.
I've done 2, and it's at like I guess before we like because this is the scope of this is based around there's a murder mystery party, and one thing I was like, oh that's cool. They all dress the part. I've been a part of 2, and one was a Greek toga theme. Like we were staying in a house for the weekend with like a group of like a dozen people, and everyone actually weirdly like this movie, everyone bought into it except one person did too many drugs and like was not fun because you have to like dress up and buy into it, and that's the fun.
Yeah.
So that it was this movie then.
Yeah.
We got tied down, not. And I'm just a ghost. And the second one was like a Miami, like Havana Nights or something like Cuba Havana Nights, like beach resort, and everyone had beach things, but I was dressed as I looked like I'm not Hispanic, but I looked like a Hispanic Coke dealer is how I dressed up. I shaved. Nice. I don't know if you ever watched Dexter. I looked like Batista. I shaved a mustache. I wore a Tommy Bahama shirt. I put a bunch of pinky rings on.
Oh, that's so cool.
I just remembered we did host a mystery game like that at work because it was the Wild West Saloon. And I said I wanted to be one of the saloon owners, and they tried to like change it to be a woman, and I was like, I swear to God, if you don't let me wear my fake mustache to work, I'm gonna be so mad.
I remember that now.
I did that. I helped my boss, her daughter, she had her like 12-year-old have one of these, and there was a bunch of girls, and I had to go. She was like, "Do you mind?" And I went through all the materials and changed the boys' names to girls. Because she's like, they won't want to be it. I'm like, oh, whatever. They're 12, and it didn't make sense of the story. But I'm sure they had a good time. So anyway, I just was curious. So this is my point of this is they actually dressed their part, which was like cool.
Okay, so what's the guy that plays the dude from? You're next.
I don't know. I just wrote fucking Crispin in my notes.
Okay.
Oh, wait, which one's that?
Adam, the guy, the brother that's
yeah, he was in
the bad guy. Well, they're all bad guys, but the worst guy.
He was in Satanic Panic also. He's the only one I haven't looked familiar.
Okay, so the thing is, like, when you look at him and he's got that shitty mullet on, I thought for the first time we watched this that was like them actually trying to play it off like that's a real hair. Like,
and like
it took forever for him to actually take it off. I was like, oh, okay, thank God. Like they're not actually pretending that this is a real thing.
And if you
I was gonna say that's saying something because every time I point out somebody's wearing a wig in a movie, you don't believe me. Like in Ginger Snaps, I was like, she's wearing a wig. You're like, you can't know that for sure.
Wig?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I feel like you guys we were talking about B movies earlier. That is a trope of every bad movie is just bad wigs. And I thought that's what they were going for. I'm like, cool. And because I was getting annoyed about his wig, kind of like the character says, because I was like, isn't that itchy? Like it's a bad Party City wig.
You know he doesn't have a wig cap on underneath either.
He takes it right off. So, having said that, before actually, I guess, skip further, I do want to give, like, I guess, an audio warning. The themes of, like, rape and sexual assault will be coming up. So anyone that's triggered or anything listening to that, just, fair warning. And, kind of a newer topic that has never really been discussed on this show. So when we get to that part of the episode, I just want to be clear, not to totally shift tunes to what we're talking about. But no, this movie starts off very different than what that is, the disclaimer I mentioned. So they're all getting in the car, and then we get a flash of a girl in a tub. She has blood in the tub, give the name Lily. Then we don't really get much information about that. And then you're just like, ooh, hey, Kane Hodder.
Yeah, and this is another one of my theories of why this is an AI generated movie, because Jesse loves Kane Hodder so much, but like the AI didn't know where to put him in this movie, so like they're just like, and he's the limo driver, and I don't know.
I refuse to believe that anything he did was scripted. My headcanon is that absolutely all of it was improv. So, like, when they're getting out of the limo, he's improving all those lines later on when he, like, does this little dance on the patio. Like, I like to imagine it's all improvised.
I literally wrote, like, Kane Hodder, vulgar, good dancer. Yeah. Like,
what else do you want in a man? That is what got me to marry Travis.
That is not.
It is. Like, his first lines are like, he's like, oh, you blow me? He's like, oh.
Yeah, nice tits.
Yeah, I was like, all right, this is the movie we're watching. Okay. And then, and, like, it's weird. Like, they just took a limo to their friend's house that they guess they've been to, we figure out, like, dozens of parties at this one house over the next few years.
And they hate her.
It's so
the shit talking her.
Why the fuck are they taking a limo? Are they committed that much?
I think she's loaded, and that's part of the reason they still hang out with her, even though they hate her.
Does she even really have it looks like she's like living in a townhome, right?
Well,
Does she have, like, a big
it
house?
looks like a decent sized house.
Yeah,
she's committing a lot of murder. You have to have you can't have a semi-detached.
And that's the thing. Like they do set up. The phone was left in the limo. But they roll up and they have that bit about her being a psychologist or psychiatrist, like the banter, and maybe they're setting up like she's a doctor who has like money. I don't know. I don't think there's much setup here.
No. Not really.
But there are some.
You don't need that in a movie like this.
And then that's another thing. They're just casually asking for drugs in the limo, like, and that becomes a big theme of it. Like, you got the blow, yeah. You think I didn't bring the blow? And then like she's like, I brought mushrooms also, and it's like that sounds like way too of an anxiety filled night.
That shroom ball gave me anxiety. Just hearing the word shroom ball stressed me out.
Yeah. They were like, I've never done mushrooms, but I just like, it was like, that does not seem like the type of party to do those in, from what I understand. So, yeah, that was one of my notes. Great wig on Coke guy. So they are in the house, and then like, I do like the one touch, first thing we in the house, that they're all in the kitchen. That was very like true to life.
Yeah,
Everyone in
this
this big house.
is-
Everyone goes to the kitchen.
Except it's a galley kitchen, and
That's why I thought it was a townhome.
Yeah, my brother.
I feel like their exterior shot location was different than their interior
Yeah,
shots, because a
definitely.
house that size does not have a tiny galley kitchen.
Oh, definitely. I mean, my brother had a galley kitchen like that, where it was just long, but they lived in a city, so it made sense. But yeah, the set is the set, right? Like I will occasionally, like the budget really shows in the set show and like the acting. But for overall, I was like, okay, like you're doing your best.
This movie, like, absolutely reeks of inexperience, like through and through.
The most egregious is, "Hey, bro.
I
Hey,
know.
sis."
I know. It's so clunky, man. Like, okay, we get it. You're brother and sister. You don't have to just flat out spell it out like that. Like, it felt intentional.
Yeah, and there was some really bad, like, it was the other cringy line was she's like, "Oh, I'm feeling my buzz." I was like, no one, like, there's such bad drunk acting or like
Yeah.
intoxicated act. But we do get the reveal that Adam is like sober, and I was like, oh, cool, they're there for his sobriety, even though we just saw him doing.
Sober.
Although we just saw him doing he has a comedically large vial of cocaine.
Yeah.
What does Adam do? Like, that's a lot of money.
I don't know, man. He blew it all on the coke, and he definitely did not invest it on the costume.
No. So,
But he was being true to the 80s.
Nah, fair enough.
it was like goofily big. He's 60 days clean. They do a toast. Like I said, I assume they were all there for that murder mystery, and then I feel like we get like pretty quickly into like, oh, the murder mystery starting, and no one's really too concerned that Lily is missing.
Yeah, they're just kind of like, "Oh, where's Lily? Don't worry about it."
Yeah, I mean, like maybe there was a line about like her being a flake or something.
Yeah, I think they just mentioned something like that.
And then they just go around the house, like, and they're like, okay, go around that, which was a weird part of like this. By the way, this is not how murder mystery parties are.
I also just wouldn't want people rummaging through my house.
I know,
for
right?
clues.
It's so uncomfortable.
Well, what was the one part? The one couple goes into the bedroom, the mushroom couple.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jules and Blaine.
And why is it Adam and his sister? What's her name?
No, Jules is his sister. She's the lesbian that
Yeah.
Blaine like thinks he can convert. 'cause
Oh, okay, that happens. There was that other.
They're the ones that found the photo album.
Because
We're
there was the
rummaging
other
through.
line that like when they went in the bedroom and like someone was like flirty and like whatnot, and they were like, it was like, ooh, they're gonna have sex in so and so's room, and it was like, it wasn't even his house. Do you remember
Yeah,
that
he
scene?
was. Yeah, no, he like that's how she lured him up there. She's like, okay, let's go fuck, and then they go up there, and she's like, I gotcha. That's how she
Yeah.
played the game.
Yeah, and then they find I don't remember who found what, but we get an ear, a finger, a set of teeth, and a bloody
clothes.
dress. And except for the bloody dress, everything looks disgusting. So props there. Like it looks like, oh, this like those but I want to keep going back. Those murder mystery parties are like you get cards.
I imagine like it's playing Clue without like the board game aspect.
You go on a site, you spend $80 or something like that. Like they're not cheap, and then it's like, cool. Now download a bunch of stuff. You gotta like, there's other layers to it. There's like financial layers to murder mystery parties that you could play it or not if you want. Like, who could gather the most coins while they serve the mystery. Like all types of shit. Very fun. So this is already like, if one of those people in that group had played one before, I feel like they'd be like, something's off.
Yeah, they had no idea.
I feel like Bernadette's probably the first person that they've met in their lives that has ever said to them, hey, let's have a murder mystery party.
Bernadette is also like a newer friend, which I guess we don't realize till later, but did you guys also with Adam also get like big like Alan from The Hangover, Zach Galifianakis from The Hangover vibes.
Are you talking about the mullet guy?
Yeah, I'm talking
Yeah.
about the biggest piece of shit in the room.
The entire time that he was on screen, I couldn't help but think that's Crispin from You're Next. Like the way that he delivers his lines is so
It is.
consistent
It is
from
him.
like that movie. Yeah, and I mean that's
Oh.
what I'm saying. Like I feel like he's playing the exact same character.
Oh.
He just put on like a shitty mullet instead.
Well, we also had discount Jarrett Padalecki from Supernatural.
Yeah, that dude does look. It's like they combined the two guys from Supernatural in that sense.
See, Travis, there's something for you in this movie.
You know, I enjoyed it a little bit more on this watch than I have before. You're like wearing me down with it.
I tried to have as much fun with this as I can. But
it'll grow on you, maybe. You gotta watch it 5 more times.
It's like a one and done. I got other bad movies. Like I'm a B movie connoisseur. I got Carousel to throw on. But no, so we're going through this, and then Bernadette, who's like so obviously like it's not even a red herring. Like I believed it for a second that she was like maybe something wasn't her. And she's like, everyone come to the dining room, and then she has like things underneath totems underneath their seats, and it's like there's a Fatal Attraction reference. There's a lot of movie references early on, and they stop.
Yeah, what was that about? Like, what were they? They were like reading off like erotic.
Yeah,
movies, right? Yeah.
There was a Seven reference. There's a Fatal Attraction reference. But so she provides them all with gifts, and I'm sorry, the one guy puts the finger in his mouth and is like, "This tastes bad."
Also, when they hold up the ear, Jules has the best line of the movie where she says, "Tacky earrings, bitch deserved it."
It's so bad.
That's me at a murder mystery party, though. If you presented me that clue, I'd be like, "Yeah, I'd kill her too."
Tacky earrings, bitch deserved it. Yeah, this is like if Saw and Promising Young Woman had like a child, and then that child went to Kmart.
That should be on the box cover.
Yeah. But so they all have these like clues, and they all seem personal, right? That is like the first tell sign, right? There's like a pride, a triangle, a bear, a Chinese finger trap, like I said, a rabbit in a bucket, and a Jack in the Box with a baby bottle.
There's also a little snake that plays the song.
Oh yeah.
And then the little monkey, the little see no evil monkey.
Yes. I assume they all like have a reference, a meaning to something, but I think right now what the movie did for me, and you let me know I know you love this movie, but it didn't do enough for me to care anything that happens to these characters.
No, it doesn't really. They don't set them up well at all.
They're all terrible. Part of what I love about these like single location friends pit against each other is because almost always the friends are terrible. It's like when you watch trashy reality TV and you get like the drama and the fights, and you're like, this is kind of a depressing view on humanity, but it's entertaining to watch.
I love Rock is Love. Rock of Love.
We were watching Ink Master before we came in here.
Cool.
So.
Yeah, no. I can't get. I'm sorry. I can't. Every minute we're talking about this, I can't get over the AI generated. Because now I'm talking about. I'm like,
dude, seriously. Like, I thought of that last time. I was like, holy shit, this is like becoming a reality. Like, I think it might have actually happened.
Yeah. So the AI decided to say, okay, well, now what? You're going to get paralyzed.
I want to know what drugs these are that manage to target you from the waist down without being a fucking...
without everyone, like, just...
I can only call it a spinal tap, and that's not the right phrase.
Spine blocker?
It's a made up drug. There's no drug. Because they move their hands. They're mobile. I mean, and then she ties them up, and it almost would have. Well, hear me out. It almost would have just made a little more sense if she knocked them out, tied them up, and they woke up, and it's just like, hey, this is what's going on.
Yeah. Like she like already drugged the things. Like, that would have made way more sense. But I don't know. This movie doesn't make any fucking sense.
No, this isn't our. And we can't sit here and go like, let's get really into the movie and like judge it on reality. That's not fair.
That's true. Yeah.
But did it make sense? The drug, I didn't even think of that. Weak. I did like Bernadette's her acting, pretending to be paralyzed, and like, haha, not really. Like that faked me out.
I do think that was a nice little moment where she's like, good. And then I think she also had a little moment of like, nobody asked if I could move, kind of like that early hint of like her being so sick of how selfish these assholes are.
Yeah. And then I think things just go from 0 to 100. She reveals, she's the evil one, and then we're here. We are here for 40 minutes.
Yep, this is the movie now.
This is this table, a couple scenes. And so she's revealing, kind of just their selfishness, and we don't get any of her like juicy clues yet of, why they're here and everything. But before anything really starts, the turning point, she murders Kane Hodder. They're going through their banter, and then the door kind of knocks, I think, or comes around, and sorry, did she reveal the TV screens?
Yeah, the Kane Hodder is a little bit, it's after the first couple of gory bits.
Yeah.
So this is my second favorite line in the movie. It's before that, because Marcus has stood up and tried to walk away, and he becomes paralyzed, and so she has to move him. And like people are asking her questions, she's like, "Hold on, I can't talk and move him at the same time." And then just like quietly in the background, you hear Adam go, "Don't move him then."
Do you think they like improv that stuff? Like they're just a little.
I will say this: like, even if he plays the same character in every movie, he's a funny fucking dude.
He is. Yeah. He's a great character. He's a good guy. I remember watching him.
I said I was Satanic Panic, and I don't really remember him in Satanic, but I remember more from House of the Devil.
Yeah, he's great in that too. Yeah,
I always forget he's in that.
Yeah,
no, he's kind of not there for a while.
He's not there, but I do remember him. Like when I looked at his IMDb, I love that movie. Talking about low budget, slow burns.
That's a great movie. It's so good.
But
yeah, she gives rules first.
Yes,
before
okay, that's
Kane
what
comes
happens.
Back.
And she does deliver a great line of like, "Pay attention, puppies." And her rules.
And Talia sat up on the couch. She was like,
"Okay." Bring Talia in here. But for rules, she really gives the rules of like, you can only each ask one question. And I
watch your words very carefully.
Yeah. And he's a little fast and loose with her rules there too later. Watch your words really carefully. And what I don't understand, these dumb fucks don't listen to any of it. Like this is not a joke. Like, I think I would figure like pretty quickly this isn't a joke.
These guys are so stupid, and like they haven't had their dumbest moment yet. Their dumbest moment comes towards the end of the movie.
Oh yeah. Like the very end of the movie.
Yeah. And you mean when they're like diving into all the shit instead of just, like, yeah.
Oh my god. Okay. Yeah.
But so she everyone's paralyzed. They go through some rules, and then we get Kane Hodder coming around the back. And she's like, come around the back. She reveals she has cameras everywhere, and she's been watching them. And the worst song in the world keeps playing all throughout this movie, just really loud music. And Kane Hodder's like, let's dance, bada boona, come on in. And he's like, can I pee? And she just stabs him. And he's like,
Further confirmation of the AI. Kane Hodder dances, then says, can I pee? And then he gets stabbed to death. Like, what the fuck is that even? God. How do you write that in a script? You're like, yes, this is going to be great.
I just love how completely unprepared for pulling off this mass murder Bernadette really is, because she did not have a plan B. She did not know how to say no to this guy.
Don't hire
she
a
went
driver.
Straight to murder.
Oh,
Yeah,
I mean, why is he even there still? Like, was he waiting for them to be done?
No, he was bringing back Jules' phone.
Ah,
yeah,
that's right. Okay.
But it did also seem like he was waiting. I get it.
Yeah.
He wanted to. He's always driving people to parties, and he's never allowed to party. He's been saving up those sweet dance moves for years.
God, if he did that,
And that house,
like, you know what? Come on,
that house is big enough where, like, they just scream something, and she could have been like, yeah, they're having a blast in there, like, too messy. We're having an orgy.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Well, don't say that to him. I think
Yeah, he might be like, oh.
He'd be like, say no more. Pants are gone.
Yeah, you're right. Well, still, it was quick. It was a boom, boom, stab. And I mean, Kane Hodder, they didn't even fight back. That's her first murder. And this is when the group inside is like, holy fucking shit. She's crazy. I'm done. And, and then
they ask about Lily.
Yeah, they ask about
the
Lily.
First question. Yeah.
So, and this is a new set of rules.
Yeah, she springs a surprise rule on them. She's like, oh, you can each ask me a question. And so then they ask a question, and then she's like, oh, but I need something in exchange.
Yes. And then the first thing is like, oh, what about a haircut? And it's to, Justin,
Sarah.
You know the name, Sarah. It's to Sarah, and the one guy's like, yeah, it's just a haircut. First of all, like, even in that situation, I know it's going to be more than a fucking haircut. She paralyzed you and just murdered someone.
Have we spoken about the fact that they all have to vote for it, and with one
minority vote rules?
Yeah, so if there's one yes, like it goes.
I like it's weird. Like, I like the seductive nature behind this, and like,
but there's a loophole, right? Like, what if after one person says yes and they're pissed, everybody else says yes except for one, and then that one person says no. Now they're the minority.
They didn't think that much because they're all selfish and didn't communicate to each other.
Yeah.
What idiots! I could totally survive this murder mystery party. I'm still in my head. I still think that it's fake. Like
she cuts that ear off. Not that.
No, she cuts off. She scalps her.
No, I meant scalp. I said ear, but I meant scalp. She cut scalp off and like, what the fuck? Look, stop. And that's another rule. She said, you can't. If you say stop. This happens a little bit, but she's like, if you say stop, I'm taking fingers.
So we have lots of nieces and nephews, and this feels very much like playing a game with them, where like, if they don't like the fact that you're winning or something, like they'll be like, oh, well, that's technically actually against the rules, so you can't do that.
Well,
I'm like, okay, cool, fuck me then, I guess I'm in jail.
And then like, yeah, it's playing with it's weird. It's all children here though.
Yeah,
like people strap down our children because they're not like other movies would be like maybe a scene where Bernadette has to leave for a minute, and they communicate of like, hey, let's just all get on the same page, and just stick together, stick it out. Nope, don't get any of that.
I kind of like that though. It's different. You would
Yeah.
expect that, and you don't get that in this.
No, usually with a movie like this, you get like the group that's sticking together, but then you have the one rogue asshole who's like, "Fuck you guys, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna get myself out of
Because
here."
we already have a wild card in was it
The person
Jules?
on shrooms,
Yeah. Which, so she's tripping, which Bernadette didn't anticipate. Which, how do you not anticipate that?
With all these drug
Yeah,
addicts.
literally,
Yeah,
one
they
of the
seem like
things
they
you're
do-
calling Adam out for is relapsing, and relapsing because of Jules. So, like, why would you not expect her to be fucked up? So she takes the coke out of Adam's pocket and just like
shoves in her face.
shovels it into her face. It's like, that scene in Horrible Bosses where they like steal the
Yeah.
cocaine and
It
then
goes
try
in
and
the
bag
mouth.
it up.
It's like,
It's just all over the
it's in the
place.
mouth. He's
Yeah.
cleaning. Yeah. It's just goofy. So we get our first like video, I think, right? Or we get our first video of like what the friends are like behind closed doors. And I'm sorry, Jess, am I skipping way too ahead, or because I feel like I missed a beat?
Yeah. So Sarah had asked where Lily is after she was scalped. She shows her the footage of
Yes, okay, that's
Lily
what.
bloody in the tub.
Yes,
And then
okay.
she serves them really gross meat.
that's
And Blaine asks what it is. And she's like, "Oh, well, that's your question." And he's like, "It was a rhetorical question." And she's like, "Well, you're stupid. That's not what rhetorical means." He goes, "I mean hypothetical." She's like, "I mean, I'm going to cut your fucking eyebrow off now."
And it's some of the. I think it's the funnest effect because it's so like we could make that in an afternoon.
Yeah.
Or like 10 minutes effect, and I kind of enjoyed the eyebrow cut off effect a lot because it was just like, and it cut away, and she was holding this
It's like a
little
magic trick.
perfectly.
It should have bled so much more, though.
Everything.
I
should have
really
bled.
think the effects. Yeah, I think the effects are done really well in this movie for how low budget it clearly was. But like a head wound is gonna bleed like crazy. My cat jumped on my face, and the cut, like, I was bleeding down. Like, Travis was like, "Do we need to go get you stitches?" Because it gushes.
The head should have been bleeding. I mean, we get later at the end, the castration, he should have passed out. He should not have been alive.
Yeah.
Oh, not been awake. Even the fingers chopped off. Like,
yeah. Everybody's very
silent
very
until they
casual about it. Like,
silent until until it's your cue to scream. That's this movie.
It should scream for a second when the pain hits. It's like, and then it's like,
you know what it reminds me of? Spoilers for the new Scream. The ending when the two Courtney Cox and Nev Campbell are sitting on the ambulance and they've all been shot or stabbed in the stomach.
Yes.
And I'm like, I did enjoy that movie, but leaving, I'm like, why was no one on the stretcher? At least in Scream 4, everyone was in a hospital bed.
Yeah. It made sense, yeah. But this one is like way worse because people are just getting like actual parts of their body.
Yeah,
cut
it's
off,
an open
and they're
wound.
Like, it's okay.
yeah, I think the biggest thing with this is the storylines that are kind of picked up and then dropped off. Like the meat on the table, it turns out it was a guy who liked to touch his little girl too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, like,
we don't even know who he was, right? It's just like
No,
a random guy.
yeah. And then, like, later there's for Melanie's question, like, she's so freaked out about having to be like cut up or anything, and Sarah takes the punishment for her, and that, like, and then, like, later Melanie finds out Sarah betrayed her, or Sarah finds out Melanie betrayed her, and like, just never even brought up, like, "Hey, I just took a fucking nail in the hand for you, and you are."
Oh, the nail in the hand gets forgotten in way too late.
Immediately, yeah.
Yeah, it's very like reactionary movie, and then you got to move on.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what fucking grossed me out? at one point, now I'm just looking at my notes. If anyone listening, I'm sorry, I'm doing a terrible job working my way through this movie.
It's a weird one to work through.
It doesn't really necessarily have to be linear anyway.
Fucking, this is way too late, but just a puke that sat on Adam's chin.
Yeah. No, you know what the thing about that is, like, the commit. You know how, like, whenever she's in her drug-induced vision, like, whenever it cuts to that vision, like, it's different people.
Yeah,
like, I
cool.
like how that guy, he has, like, actual chunks of puke on his chin still.
That was like the part where I'm like, all right, this is neat. Like, I like what they're doing here, and it's but okay, so we are at our first. They feed the pedophile to them, but yeah, you're right. No callback, no nothing. We get our first video, and the first video is like a lot of the things until the big moment at the end are all things that like these actions don't deserve this crime, right?
No.
Yeah.
And it's like two of the friends, was it Jules and Sarah, they hook up, and Jared Padalecki like jerks off in a corner watching it. Disgusting.
Yeah.
But
well, that's a problem that he did that, because
it's a problem. Yeah. I just mean, like, it's all of like.
But hold on, did they not know he was there?
No.
Okay,
no.
I thought that they did. I thought that they were like, fine, whatever.
No,
the characters react that way. They're like, it's gross, but.
So my big problem with this is, like, Bernadette's whole thing is that they're all guilty of stuff, and the clues under the chair were meant to be what they were guilty of. And we find out that after Sarah and, was it Marcus, broke up, she had been, like, quasi-stalking him, like, reading his emails. But Bernadette didn't know that. What Bernadette put as the clue under Sarah's chair was the little pride triangle, which is kind of fucked up that she's saying that this is something that Sarah needs to be like.
Yeah, it's
that is weird.
Yeah, are the vigilante Bernadette, right? That's what she thinks.
She's a fucking hypocrite.
She's a hypocrite, and she's a bad like she's shaming.
She's
them.
just as bad as the rest of them.
Because the two women hooking up, there's nothing wrong there. The wrongness is discount Jared Padalecki.
The wrongness is her doing video footage of this all throughout her house.
Well, that too. And I mean, like, she's Bernadette. We do get like a little line of reveal, like she's new to this group, and she can't stand all of them. She's been like, "Yo, we're having a party at my house, my house, my house." I mean,
everybody, get over here.
Christmas, Labor Day,
all the important holidays.
So, and like, it's funny because I was like, this is one of those ones where, like, I don't know, I'm my friend group, and like, there's always like never this level of drama going on, but there's always like people have their own shit dealing with or whatever. But this is one where it's like, oh, you guys took it, and you're like, well, everything needs to be screwed up.
Yeah.
So we do that, and she takes he's like, stop, turn this off, and she takes one of the fingers, and then basically sequentially in like 5 minutes of himself, she takes two fingers because it's the same video, and he's like, stop. And my one note of that scene is, that's fucking creepy, but what did the women do wrong?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's Bernadette's whole thing, is she's totally victim blaming too, because that's what she does with Lily, and I'm sure we'll get more into that at the end. But
disturbing. Yeah,
it's fucked up.
Yeah. That's why, even though whatever at the end, like, that's why the thing with Lily felt so like more of like a Saw like vibe to her, where it's like, you decided to do drugs, but if you really want to work your way out of here, you'll win it. And like, Lily won her Saw game basically, right? And we still got to get to that beat, but that's what it felt like. It was like the Jigsaw reveal.
Yeah.
And we reveal that right after that, we do reveal that, like, just more like every layer is like the AI is like, oh, Lily took her to get an abortion, but guess what? She was feeling bad. She was like sick, and so I just I knocked her out and put her in the tub and didn't help her.
Well, what was really funny was because Melanie had asked that question earlier, and Bernadette's like, oh, we need to come back to Melanie's question. And Bernadette's like, nope, don't give a fuck what happened to Lily. Please don't do anything to me. And Bernadette's like, you asked the question, and Lily's one of your best friends. She's like, nope, don't care. Don't hurt me. Don't.
Well,
this
that happens.
Motherfucker is not loyal.
No, and that's what happens a little later when, was it Jules? No, Jules is tripping on shrooms. Who's the one who takes the nail for her?
Yeah, so this is that scene, because then, like, Bernadette's freaking out, or Melanie's freaking out, and Bernadette's like, well, you already asked the question, so we gotta do this. And Melanie's like, please, no. So Sarah's like, I will do it for her. And Bernadette's like, pick a hand, and then she, like, half crucifies her.
Yeah, and she just keeps her mouth fucking shut. Melanie sucks.
Yes, she does. She must be that one that's like, yeah, she's the wild card one, I think.
Yeah, and we do get the reveal though about Melanie and I don't know, all the guys. They all kind of look the same to me. The people in this fucking movie.
Yeah.
They hook up on the bed, I guess right after they broke up or something like that, one of the couples.
No, Marcus and Sarah were still together.
Oh, that I thought it was excuse. Anyway, they're cheating together at the Labor Day party, and then like Adam's in there and he like is just drugged out and like kind of briefly like have like a half threesome-ish and then leaves, and then they continue hooking up.
And then here's where Bernadette's a hypocrite again, because, like, while Marcus and Melanie are both clearly, like, drunk, they both appear to be enthusiastically consenting.
Yeah.
Which, it still gets kind of, like, murky with alcohol, but they don't seem to have any regrets in this time. But, like, Adam is stumbling. He can barely stand up. And he tries to get away from them, and Melanie keeps pulling him in.
Yeah, no, it's very like,
and that's like, that is assault as well. Like, he is not consenting to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a two-way street. Yeah, because she was like into like, that's what I said. It's this great. It was that scene is one of those things where like it's just like this great. The shitty thing on the surface is the cheating. Everything else is just like this. Just looks bad.
Yeah.
From like a real morality standpoint, right? Like,
if they weren't, I mean, I think we've got those layers that make it a problem, because there's cheating, there's coercion because Adam's under the influence. But like, if everybody was sober and everybody was single, like, who the fuck cares?
Doesn't matter.
Having a threesome.
Doesn't matter. Have a human centipede style train if you're.
Yeah, and that was the clue that Melanie got. Like, it wasn't anything hinting about like cheating or anything. It was like,
Melanie
you were with two guys at once.
No, Melanie didn't give a shit.
Getting fully sloop shamed.
That's there. This movie's gross.
Well, I think what she did, she had a great idea for like the whole thing. The whole party, she's like, we got some real assholes here. I want to like fuck them over. But then when she got to those, she's like, I don't really know. Just grasping at straws here.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. This would bother me in a movie that had a clear stance of like Bernadette's in the right here, but this movie also clearly paints Bernadette as being a bad guy too. So I think these topics, they're not handled as delicately as you would want them to be handled, but I do think that they're handled in such a way that like everybody here is shitty, so please don't take this as morality on any. Yeah.
I think this is definitely just a horror tale, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's a there's no we're not walking away.
I don't think it's
like if it was your show.
I think really the only stance this movie hard and fast takes is that rape is bad.
Yeah.
But even then, it struggles with that.
Controversial opinion. Yeah, but it's like, your show, right? Like, you ask the question of like, what did you learn? Like, I'm not going to answer this because we learned
Yeah.
But so that scene does happen, and then once again, there's these more of just like this they all care so much about this personal drama that they're into. Like, so much stuff has happened like emotionally to these characters, but they're still like, oh my god, you were like, and it's like, I don't know, maybe like, I thank god hopefully none of us are ever in any of these type of situations, but it's like, I feel like it'd be more instinctive of like, cool, we'll talk about this later.
Yeah. Now's not the time.
It feels very Degrassi, but like Degrassi meets Saw.
Yes. Ooh, okay. Degrassi, maybe I'll make the thumbnail the Degrassi font. So with a month.
Whatever it takes. It helps that Melanie kind of looks like Paige's actress too.
Yeah. And then we get right into, like, right after that though, we get into this scene, and we never answer this question. Low rent I probably called this 5 different guys Jared Padalecki, but he was like, they're like, tell him why you really got arrested, and we never get the answer.
Oh yeah.
Because I started writing.
No, he got like a parking ticket or something.
Oh.
And he told everybody he beat up a guy that was like
assault or like harassing one of their friends or something. Yeah.
I took that scene so much. I took that as like he was making a joke of like, I got a parking ticket, because it seems so like not like, it seemed like, ooh, okay, like,
yeah, exactly.
What's your crime?
He's just like the shitty guy. He's like, yeah, like I didn't, you know, he just wanted to be cool. He wanted to look like a badass.
Oh, it was water in the airplane bottles. But yeah, so that as that's happening though, Jules Shroom Girl is kind of starting to go like, this is a movie freaking out, and this is now where we do get the like pinnacle scene of Adam in the bathroom with Lily, and he rapes her. It starts off more like, oh, you're drunk, innocent, and then it just goes like, no, you want this, and we hear it, and you know, it's revealed that Jules also like hears and walks away, and then this is truly where the movie just, I think, gets silent and serious, and as it should.
Yeah, it's
like this
portrayed very realistically.
Yeah.
Like, and listen, Bernadette has some seriously bad takes about this, because she fully victim blames Lily.
Well,
but she drops some good facts about the fact that like most rapes are not stranger rapes.
No.
And it like that's something that a lot of people have a misconception of, that like if you go out alone at night you're gonna like get attacked. No, what happens is like your drunk friend that you know, like that offers to walk you home, is a lot more likely to attack you than protect you from an attacker. Like,
yeah, and take advantage of like drinking and whatnot.
Can I just take a second to plug rain.org? It's RAINN.org. They've got a lot of like information about sexual assault and resources and like fact versus fiction, and it's just like a great resource for people that want to learn more, because like I said, I think this movie does a better job than some movies addressing the topic, but nothing's ever going to be perfect, and I'm sure listening back to this I'll wonder if I said everything the right way myself, but
Sure.
like it's a great resource for like education and support and all of that. So.
No, thank you for dropping that link, and people should go listen to it. Like we said earlier, this now comes from a dumb movie to a serious topic, and it is the one thing this movie of this scene does like right, is shown as this is realistic. This is what happens. Our characters' words are not correct, and like I don't know if I feel like the makers of the movie wanted her whole speech, except for the stuff with Lily, to feel like you're right, but like it's mixed and matched. But you're right; it's very well put together, and she makes a good point. So thank you for sharing that. After that scene, like, or during that scene, really, this is where everyone's going, like, this is the first thing I feel like that happens that everyone's like shocked.
Yeah, this is the one that. Well, I mean, this is like the one really.
This is the one that deserves the crime. To be honest,
she tried to like ease everybody into it with like really stupid shit, and then she like goes full blast into this right here, and it's just like Jesus, like okay.
Yeah, I wasn't like this thing. It was like it was surprising because of the tone of the movie and everything. This time, you're like, oh, like there's a message here.
I feel like this one, like this is what the whole thing is really centered around, though. Like she had the idea for him, and then this is why she's like, okay, I got to find dirt on everybody else now.
And she likes killing people.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, like not everyone did any. Kane Hodder didn't do anything wrong, and
that's true. Yeah, she just wanted to kill him.
He never even got to dance.
He danced, and that was what it was.
His final moments. One person saw his dance moves.
He was a little pervy and homophobic, but other than that, like, he didn't deserve a stab.
She had a camera in a limo.
He really did think Marcus could suck a good dick. That in and of itself is not necessarily.
I guess maybe I'm the homophobic.
I know. I am making a bad joke.
No, but now maybe I'm the one that's homophobic here for assuming that. So I get it. All right, let's not assume.
I mean, maybe Kane's character was bi. He was like asking the girls to suck his dick. He was like, Marcus, maybe you can suck my dick too.
Do we really think the AI went this far into this right here?
If it's a Jesse AI, it definitely
went
did.
into
yes.
Okay.
Would a Jesse AI not want to make Kane Hodder an icon?
The AI got serious, and then we're back, baby. As this is going on, what I did think was pretty cool about neat about the scene is, the punishment's up next, right? And everyone's looking at Adam, and Adam's freaking out because he knows, right? But what they do, what I did like, this is the one chunk I did like, is we get this like flash scene to Jules thinks she's on a movie set, and she's paralyzed in this movie set, and the actors, there's new actors and crew members who were crew members in this movie and all of that showing in, and they're different, and her friends are played by actors, and she's freaking out. She's like, okay, I'm just on the movie set. This is the thing. I'm not doing my lines right, but it's whatever. At that same time, we're getting Adam is getting castrated.
Yeah, and this is probably my favorite part of the movie because, it's a really interesting way to do this.
Yeah.
But, basically what she's doing, for one really cool thing is, Danielle Harris is walking around in her Halloween costume.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
I would say that
the
is
little clown. And she even calls her out. She's like, aren't you the girl from Halloween? And Danielle Harris is super aggressive in her face. But, something happens, I can't remember, but she just keeps going, yes.
They're saying, do you want to work in this town again? Because she can't, but they're trying to tell her to move out of the chair, and she's like, I can't. And they're like, do you want to work in this town again? She's like, yes. And they're like, move. And she's like, do you want to work? And she's like, yes. So she's screaming that, but in reality,
she's casting her votes.
Yes, she's casting her minority vote for castration.
Yes, they're asking her, do you want to cut him off? And then we kind of get this. I think they even say and everything goes to black, and then we get the silence of the reveal, and what happened? And she's like, you're the one who said yes.
And you know what? He looks like he's not even that phased by it right now. He's like, yeah, by the way, they cut off my bulbs. Yeah,
that is he didn't pass out. He's not screaming. I don't think you would just stop. And then they were like, well, it happened, but the pain's over.
It made me think, for a weird reason, in Ghostbusters, where they call the guy Dickless, and then the mayor's like, is this true? And Bill
This
Murray's
man
like,
has
yes,
no
it's
dick.
true. This man has no dick.
Yeah.
That's all the energy that Adam has. He's like, this man has no dick.
He sold his throwing up on what's her face more than this.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. He stopped as a puker when I drink. That scene was more triggering than anything.
That was a Jesse too.
Yeah,
Loud.
I'm a sympathetic puker.
Yeah.
So it's rough with movies like that.
I get you. But yeah, so he gets castrated, and like I said, deserved. That's the one. I'm like, good for you. It's how because it reminded me of Hard Candy.
Oh yeah.
Shit.
But like he doesn't get, but it reminded me of that kind of like secrecy of scene, and just stop screaming and only screams when he's on cue. And the same with the people who got their fingers and their head chopped, like they're just, I'm good. What's a good representation of like feeling in pain in a movie, and that I feel like they keep the level up. It's probably a bit more of a budget than this, but not much. Is The Loved Ones.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That movie's so fucking good.
Yeah, like I feel
Love
like
that movie.
I'm forgetting the name of the characters except for Lola, because Bernadette's doing a bad Lola at some points.
Yeah.
The people in pain, he does a good job of like the torture and then having to not like showing it, and he can't scream. Different movie. I'm just thinking of better movies. Sorry, Jesse. And so I do really like this scene though when right after, and they're just like, well, I think her punishment's to get her tongue cut out. Even though like she shouldn't, and like Adam said it, like that was like, okay, yeah, like let's get more fucked up now.
Why are they wanting to cut out her tongue though? Because she can't stop
said
talking?
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
They said that's castration for a lesbian.
Well, that's what Bernadette says.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bernadette got them quips. Like she's starring in her own horror movie while doing this.
She's the only sober one. So this is just her. She's dialed to her completely sociopathic core.
Yeah. And then we're getting like really close, I feel like, to no, as she says that, and this is all kind of going on, then we do see Lily walk down. Because she doesn't get her tongue cut off.
Blood caked to her legs. She's clearly not
gross.
feeling good.
Oh,
she
ghost.
Yeah.
Ghost
she had bled out after the abortion, and Bernadette just did nothing. What she told everybody was, she was like, well, that's what we do, right? When people are in trouble, we just do nothing.
But Lily is a victim.
Yeah, Lily's a victim. She was assaulted by a friend, not saved by another friend.
Yeah.
Got pregnant as a result of rape. Told somebody that she thought she could trust because she is her friend and a doctor. Got assistance going to get the abortion, and then when that went wrong, is just to be let out in a bathtub.
Yeah, and that is
Lily is the only sympathetic character in this.
Yeah, they never gave us a story beat or a clue that like Lily was involved with some sort of, nefarious like cheating or whatever, right? And that's what it doesn't make sense. Like I wish, like we're leading them. I wish it was the revenge of like Lily then gets her revenge, but leaves the friends there to die or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I wish Lily slit Bernadette's throat. So Lily comes down and they're fighting around the table. Right? Like kind of very like it's raw. It's very like, ooh, I'm not gonna throw this mug on my desk, but I'm gonna throw this mug at you. I'm gonna do this. And then Lily gets her and she just starts choking her out. And they're like, yeah, get her. And she chokes her out, and instead of stabbing her, she duct tapes her hands. She duct tapes her body.
Yeah, well, she is barely alive right now, and she's got everybody yelling at her. She's
out of her mind.
Yeah,
right now,
she's out of her mind.
Yeah, and that is like like, and that's like where the frustration scene. She does that, she tapes her up, and then they start bringing up.
Yeah.
Well, no, first they're like, you need to, everybody's asking her for things all at once.
Yeah.
Like, Sarah's like, you need to get this nail out of my hand, untie us, Adam's bleeding out, faster, 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 and then grab the hammer, and then Lily goes over there, and like, nobody's asked her if she's okay. But instead, they're like, why the fuck didn't you tell us that Adam raped you? And she's like, I didn't want to tell you guys. I didn't think you were going to be helpful. Kind of like this situation right now.
It's so frustrating for many reasons.
Well, I mean, not only that, but then like they even spilled the beans. Like, yeah, Julie totally knew and everything like that. And they're like, that's whenever it gets like, that's when she changes. She's like, oh, you fucking knew about all of this and you didn't do anything. Like I get, you know, it's more like what you were talking about before. Like, let's talk about this later after everybody's free, and then we can like hold each other accountable then, but like, you know, maybe not just do the shit now.
The problem is that they're not having any introspection. They're not asking her like if she's okay, and they're not, you know, they're not thinking, oh, maybe I am not a good enough friend to be trusted with this. Instead, they're like, well, you should have told us that because you're our friend.
Yeah.
And survivors are under no obligation to tell anybody shit that they don't feel comfortable with. Like, she told somebody that supposedly is a professional, even though there's a conflict of interest with their pre-existing relationship, but that didn't work out very well.
I just put, it's all fucked up for Lily, but I just put something together. That's where the pedophile came from. Because she's a psychiatrist.
Oh, yeah.
Ah.
Sorry.
Okay, wow. No, I didn't even think about that.
Oh,
Did you thought about that?
Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't until now. You're
assuming
saying
that,
all of that stuff. I made me go, that's what happened back then.
Yeah, I'm assuming the survivor of the pedophile probably is a client of Bernadette's, and sought out her abuser.
So Lily, as you said, as this is going on, really, her friend, she's finding all this shit out, and they're telling her, and she has her turning moment. And she just goes, she doesn't say anything, actually. She's very quiet. I don't like to be mean to this, like on air at least. Lily's the worst actress of the movie, though. I'm sorry, her scene she was in. Didn't work for me.
She did it. It was really her transition from being like, "What's going on?" to like, "You did this to me." Yeah, it was like so. It wasn't done well. Yeah,
but I will give this. She just fucking leaves, and it is great. She just leaves, and she's like, "You're gonna deal with your own shit because you people are all the worst because of exactly what Jesse explained." And so it kind of goes to dark a little bit. We get a flash up, and then we have like a very like 80s slasher and like horror ending. Melanie's there with the knife. I'm sorry,
Bernadette.
Bernadette's standing with the knife in the thing, and it freeze frames, and then we get like directed by Danielle Harris.
Yeah, and they're all like screaming. I love this ending, honestly.
Yeah,
it's a great way to end it.
Yeah,
it's a killer ending. Like I said, like after especially talking about it, like I wish Bernadette got hers.
Yeah.
Because I mean, she's just as shitty as everybody else, honestly. Like at the end, like, I kind of like the whole thing about her like coming back at the end, and then they're all so fucked. But then at the same time, she's like, "Well, she should get fucked too," you know?
Yeah.
And then, it's not over yet because there's a mid-credit scene.
I tried
to
look.
Miss it?
We missed it. Yeah.
What happened in the mid-credit scene?
Oh, you guys.
Travis does is he skips through it, but Tubi didn't give a solid preview, like it like jumped ahead with the preview.
So I don't know why. I don't normally do this. I always saw the name things, and I was like, let me just fast forward a little bit. And then the mid-credit scene is there's a woman, and it's Bernadette. She's sitting at a bar in a different town, and on the phone, and the person's like, "Oh, Greece, murder mystery party." She's like, "Yeah, I'll be there." And the woman on the phone's like, "Haha." Clearly, like another like floozy is like, bring some single hot guys at your party. Can't wait. Like, you're the best. And she has a different name. I just didn't write it down. And and she's like, "You're the best, Sally," or whatever the fuck her name is. And there's like a guy who is the most average looking man in the world right next to her, and she's like, "Okay," as she says, like, hot single guys. And then it ends with like a smirk of like, now Bernadette does this city to city.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah, it was
Do
weird.
you think she like infiltrates friend groups just to like find the shitty people and then kill them all?
Sounds like it.
Because this has like, yeah, that's what I think it does. It's kind of a longer con of like promising young woman.
I also can get like Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3, where like somebody's like high on the morality train and inflicting fucked up punishments.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, like Saw.
Yeah, Saw.
Yeah.
I just like this has more of the campiness of Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3.
I guess this is also like to bring a grief with another movie I have. This is a good movie, and then I don't like it because it got a sequel. Is like Bernadette, treating Bernadette like the guy in like Don't Look Up. Don't Breathe, right?
Yeah.
We specifically haven't watched the sequel.
Yeah, me neither. I know about it. I'm sure like you guys do. I'm like, this is not some vigilante like anti-hero, even like a Dexter. I don't want to watch.
Turkey baster.
Yes. Oh, that's all we'll say is turkey baster. But it's that same thing of like, oh, you guys like loved Bernadette and her like her performance, and like this is who like this movie hoped they'd get their jigsaw out of.
Yeah.
Anyway, anything else? I feel like we did cover a lot, and once again, anyone still listening, I am sorry for the randomness of where I went with the story. But anything else you guys want to add to this or bring up? I feel like we covered a lot.
Do you have anything?
No. I think we covered a lot.
It's a weird movie to talk about, so don't feel bad about like jumping all over the place, because that just happens with like fucked up movies. Like
no worries.
Yeah, you can go out of order with a movie like this, kind of.
Oh yeah, no, I'm fine. You listen. Hopefully, everyone enjoyed. But yeah, this was a really fun conversation though for what it was, and I actually prefer and love that you guys picked something that wasn't we're not talking about Halloween. Like it's fun to talk about the bad or the things that like I like, but you might not.
Yeah. I want to thank you for indulging us on this one, because whenever like we were just kind of like, we want to, I mean, this is what we do a lot of the times. Like we just go to Tubi and we like read a description like, this looks low quality, this looks cheap as hell, like let's watch this, and then we have fun with it.
I'm gonna text you guys next time I like get something pops off on like one of these bad movie nights I have. I'm gonna text you guys and be like, I'm coming on what's your least favorite scary movie, and we're gonna go over
we're down.
Yes.
Anyway, as I just said, great having you guys again. Where can the people find you?
So we are What's Your Least Favorite Scary Movie. We've got a website, what'syourleastfavorite.scarymovie.com. We are on Facebook. We've got an Instagram page, Least Favorite Scary Movie Podcast. We've got a Twitter, Least Fave Pod. Those are pretty much the main places to find us. We chose a long-ass podcast name, so it's impossible to get the same handle across different platforms, but that's fine.
No worries.
We've become pros at listing what the different handles are at this point.
And your links will be below in the video or on the site. And you're here. You could find us at Flyover State of Fear and Flyover State of Film, and me at Chendango1 or Flyover State Fear on Twitter. Thanks again, guys. This was great. Stay frightful, everyone. Bye.
Thanks.
Welcome to Fly. Flyover State of Fear.